I mean,
God,
it was weird. It was weird.
Yeah, it's extremely strange. Well, you came up in a conversation. I was having lunch with a girlfriend of mine over the weekend, and God knows how we ambled into this topic, but I said, Colleen says that Bush is in again. Female Bush is back. And she goes, really? And I said, yeah. And I said, I don't know what forecast to look for, to verify that, or if there's a Mr. Blackwell for pubes. Unclear.
I've just been, the movie folks said they've just been seeing more movies with hair back again. I mean,
okay.
It's not like full 70s. Stuff that was, that was a lot. But I'm just like, okay, I was like, how do you wear a swimsuit? I mean, honestly, that's what I think of it. I mean, if you can, how would you wear a swimsuit with that? I just don't even 70s suits. I mean, this is, but yeah, it's. I like the fact that it's whatever you're particularly comfortable with.
Oh, that's what I think it's whatever you want and whatever.
I mean, the fact that they're, high-waisted jeans are an in thing or, fine with me because now my tattoo doesn't have to be, public property. It's mine.
Can I just ask you something? Mm-hmm. What's fun about getting a tattoo that you can't look at?
I know it's there. I don't see it every now and then. I mean, I don't, directly see the one on my boob and it's there.
So you have two?
Yeah. I mean, because I wanted it to be for me and not for the general populace.
Okay.
I know they're there. If I wanted, I would have, full sleeves or this or that. I mean, I'm contemplating an addition to the one tattoo or maybe a third one, and they're still not going to be visible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's cool. Yeah. I just the ones that you put on your back where you'd have to do something kind of extraordinary to take a look at. It was not a judgment thing. I'm just like, I would, if I got one, I'd want to be able to look at it. Mm-hmm. Somewhere. I mean, and maybe not for public consumption, but somewhere I could at least.
You can still see it in a mirror.
Okay. All right. Just curious. Okay. Again, Ellen Scott. Mm-hmm. I found 3 of her columns, and they were all just like, okay. This one, period sex. And this is a weird topic for a lot of people. I know women that just won't eat. They're like, if somebody says something.
I just don't want to have to clean the sheets. I mean, you can put down towels and stuff like that. I mean, not that I have to worry about it anymore anyway, but honestly, to me, it would be too messy. But regardless of anything else, it would just be messy.
Yeah.
I don't like a mess. Okay. I mean, mind you, my house is actually fairly clean. It's just not messy.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's really no big deal. I mean, I get that.
Well,
it's not,
women, 30% of women would like to have it more often at that time, but 45% of women in the survey said that they have been turned down for that by their partners. And to me, that's one of those things where it's kind of like, you kind of got to let everybody just kind of have their thing, with that.
I mean, honestly, there's, extra lubricant to help cramps, but it is a bodily waste. I mean, you just, not everybody's, there's lots of things people are into where this or that. But if someone, you can, once again, you can ask, but don't push it if someone says no,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, but I just thought that was interesting. She has an entire, another column on it. And, like I said, her material is pretty funny. I love the way that she writes, but more importantly, she thinks about stuff and the way she attacks it just totally and completely cracks me up. And she's smart. So that's kind of funny. Birmingham, England, they got an investigative reporter heard about something and then went and did more research and found that it's not that unusual over there to have guys offering free rent for various types of intimate favors, ranging from something as benign as kiss and a cuddle to full-on sexual favors. And so she went out.
I mean, like somebody owns an apartment building?
Or a house.
Or a room in their house or something?
Or a 2-room flat or anything, And so the reporter went and responded to one of the ads. And the guy said, no, this is not real sex. She declined the offer to move in. She passed whatever, criteria that he had. And she declined it. But they go from every range from, simple companionship on up. And the fear was that, homeless women were going to be taken advantage of. But the guys that got interviewed for this article, and we'll post it up for you, were saying, I got a divorce. I'm by myself. I travel all the time. She could have the run of the house when I'm not there. but I do want a couple things in exchange. So is this pervy? Is it a business arrangement? Is it just fine as long as everybody's consenting? What do you think?
It sounds an awful lot. I mean, I'm pretty sure that would not be legal. You said this is in Great Britain?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that would not be legal here because you would be doing something, I mean, maybe if, in exchange for cleaning the house. But I think once you get to actual sex, I think it probably becomes illegal in the United States. But once again, I mean, it's not that different than, I mean, they're just putting it out there. I mean, it wasn't like they, nobody's going into it not knowing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And, they just found the male-female relationships, but I suppose someone could, someone could ask, if you're a female landlord, you could get, someone in that you liked. I mean, there's nothing about that is inherently sexist. I mean, but it on the surface, yeah, it doesn't seem to, I mean, like that would
just seem unsavory to you.
Yeah. Just
for me, I quite honestly think that we should have legalized prostitution.
Yeah,
I do. Mm-hmm. And
it would take a lot of the violence. I mean, not all of it.
No,
stuff like that. But
no, people will still find a way to be fuckheads.
Yes,
they will.
But you can, the same thing with when you're legalizing marijuana, you just you can deal with addiction because there won't be a stigma. You can legalize prostitution. You can deal with folks that want to get out or get into stuff like that. There would be fewer. I mean, you're not going to eliminate problems because some people always be assholes.
Yeah.
But there will be fewer problems and less stigma. And what could possibly be harmless about that?
So for me, if these are two consenting adults engaging in a transaction, I'm fine with it. Mm-hmm. Because God knows people get taken advantage of for less, on a regular basis. But I mean, it is kind of, it's eye popping a little bit. And, but yeah, it's kind of a situation.
Well, I mean, there are plenty of, you can Google, college student exchanging sex for tuition. I mean, there are plenty.
What?
Yeah.
Do tell more.
No, here in the U.S., you run across stories every now and then about folks. They're sort of escorting through college because they need the money for tuition, and they're only doing it then.
So they work as escorts,
or they'll just there's sites where you can exchange for tuition money.
You're kidding.
But they're getting their tuition paid. They're not taking out loans or doing anything. Huh. And some of it's not sex. Some of it's just companionship. So I don't think it's that much different than, rent.
Okay.
I didn't know that. Whether or not it's legal, but I know it exists.
Huh.
I'm sure there's been a 60 Minutes thing on it.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. Well, I mean, you hear every once in a while, and people love these stories because women working as strippers to put themselves through college. And once again, it's like, you know what? If they can make more money doing that and they're okay with it, I don't care. Especially if you're,
and then
to college.
You see the sexism. There's probably a fair amount of guys working as strippers putting themselves through college too, but there seems to be that woo factor for that.
I know.
So the double standard and sexism there is pretty fascinating.
Oh, speaking of that, so the head of United Airlines is testifying in Congress today.
Oh, okay.
They're holding hearings on just, I don't know, the massive abuse of passengers that have been taking place lately. Mm-hmm. And across, it's not just United. We've had Delta stories now. We've had American. We've had them all. And I'm really glad that they're looking at this because I don't know how they can get away with letting people sit on tarmacs for 6 hours with overflowing toilets and no food. Like I don't, and when they could take a bus out there, get the people and take them into the freaking airport, like really. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting. But my sister and I were talking about it yesterday. And a childhood friend of hers flew for American for an entire, career. Mm-hmm. And my sister started talking about, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about all this. And her friend Donna is naturally tall, gorgeous, blonde, and skinny, but she had to diet. Remember when they had to weigh a certain amount? Mm-hmm. And then she just got in at the time where, when they were lifting the requirement, do you know that they used to make them quit when they got married? Mm-hmm. Like, how in the hell did they ever get away with that?
Yeah. I mean, and that was probably only in the late 70s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she was reminding me of all this, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, the original flight attendants all had to be registered nurses, too.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
yeah.
That's not as crazy to me as some of the other stuff.
Then it evolved into the, come fly me.
Yeah. Uh-huh. No, the nurse thing actually, okay, if there's an emergency, we got somebody, a medical professional. I got it. But the rest, the stuff, and she was just going down the list, and I'm like, oh my word.
Yeah, one, they would never ask guys to do that, and two, they would never hire a guy anyway, so you had to a couple different things going, there you go.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know what flying used to be like when I was younger, and I don't mind not having reasonable airplane food, but I do mind being uncomfortable. Somewhere they gotta pull out one row of seats and just make people and just spread them out another couple of inches. Just do something, and then just make the seats not decline at all, and then life will be much better.
Yeah, the whole reclining thing,
because it doesn't do enough to make any difference,
except for make the person behind you miserable,
except piss you off.
Right.
What is the point?
I am less freaked about the cramped nature of the seating as I am just the whole thing that because of the threats, and I understand we're trying to keep everybody safe, but we are the ones that bear the punishment for it every day.
I know.
And it sucks. That's what, bums me out. You talked about college. Mm-hmm. This one is from the University of Minnesota, and it cracks me up. Okay, so I do not know how to pronounce her last name, so I'm going to throw it out there and probably butcher it. But it's a gal that's going to the U of M. Her name is Taylor, and it's spelled S-E-L-E. So Selly or Sell, I don't know. Soleil, who knows? Mm-hmm. She's looking for a boyfriend, and she was bored one night, and she said, you know what? We hook up on Tinder, we do all this kind of stuff, but I'm going to make an application, a boyfriend application, right? So she
isn't that what Match.com is?
Well, kind of, but she wanted, and I got to give her credit because she designed it the way that she wanted it.
Yeah, it's her. Yeah, it's very beyond personalized. Yes.
So, do you smoke? What's your favorite show? What's your favorite ice cream? And she said, look, if they say vanilla, it's a deal breaker. Like, I know immediately I'm done, mm-hmm. which, and everybody has their little buttons, mm-hmm. but she's been handing these out. And she said a lot of them, thought I was crazy. But one guy said, hey, this is fun. Let me fill it out. And she said she's had about a half a dozen dates. And she's rejected about 4 guys. And her mom is actually applauding this effort, saying, it shows she's got good judgment. And at least she's stepping in.
Entrepreneurship. Good ideas going forward, not just sitting on her ass.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you're cute. You want to fill this out? Or,
yeah.
You seem to have a nice sense of humor. Here you go. Or, wow, that was really nice what you did over there. Here you go.
I'd love to.
No? Yeah. Yes. But let's just be honest. Here you go. I wonder if she's filled out, she's attached like hers. She'd answer like her questions and stapled it to the back.
Right.
That would be handy.
She should have a resume, her own dating resume on the back.
That goes with that.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually pretty smart. Well, her mom has dating my daughter #no shame. Mm-hmm. And she's like, check it out. And she's like all about her trying to find a boyfriend. I think that's funny. Good for her. We're talking about it.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Apparently, having sex in the actual airport is taking over Mile High Club for fun, and number of people doing it.
Jesus. Really?
Yeah, because, why?
Well, there is hours. You have to get there hours early to get through security. And you could, you might just make it through, or you could be like, sitting around for 2 hours before your flight loads.
Yeah. 1 in 10 Americans surveyed in this admitted to some form of sexual activity at the airport in the last 2 years, be it in any form of, actual busy, oral, hand-related, whatever, versus a slightly lower number who had it on, in the actual air. And, they said the fear of accidentally unlocking the door and falling into the cabin is what keeps most people on the ground.
Well, the fact that it's disgusting, but I know that quite a number of years ago, the same, Minneapolis St. Paul Airport had those like little pods you could rent for a few hours, and I haven't seen those. So I'm guessing those were probably pulled out for a particular reason.
How did they not know that would degenerate quickly?
I don't know. I'm just, just surmising. Inferring, but or they said they just weren't doing enough business. I'm thinking they were doing.
I thought business. They did the wrong kind of business.
Yes.
Yeah,
and although I suppose, I was at the airport at like 3:00 in the morning for my last trip, and there was almost no one there. The Starbucks. Honestly, if the airport is open, the Starbucks should be open.
I know. Doesn't that suck?
Okay. Like, I suppose. I just find a I don't know. I mean,